There is new reporting from the Washington Post this hour. Donald Trump again reviving the idea of potentially firing Jeff Sessions to get more control of the Mueller probe. And earlier this morning, wow, you can see how Republican Senator Lindsey Graham may have known something about this. Look at him talking about their relationship.
We need an attorney general that can work with the president, that can lead the Department of Justice. This relationship is beyond repair, I think.
But Senator Graham, I mean, the only beef the president seems to have against him is that he's not going to get rid of the investigation into President Trump.
Let me finish the second part. It's much deeper than that.
What else? What are we missing?
Well, we won't say on this show, but it's a pretty deep breach.
A secret deep breach. And it's not just Jeff Sessions. Trump, of course, has gone after Comey, McCabe, Bruce Ohr, who is testifying today. There's a federal prosecutor who's seen Donald Trump's attacks in the DOJ long before this fight. Tonight, she is live on the beat exclusively. Elise Goldweber deposed Trump in a DOJ suit over housing discrimination in 1973. And she said even then, Trump showed a total lack of respect for prosecutors. This was a landmark moment in his real estate career. It was the first federal suit he faced, the first time his name even appeared in the New York Times when Trump was calling the case ridiculous. But Goldweber's team got him ultimately to enter a consent decree, promising not to discriminate and rent to tenants regardless of race. Joining me now is that very prosecutor, Elise Goldweber.
Hi.
Hi. Did you ever think the person you were suing then to prevent discrimination would become president?
Never that he would become president. Never.
What do you see in the echoes today?
Well, it's so much that he was so the same even when he was 27, 28 years old. When we started the case, he was represented by Roy Cohn from the Army McCarthy hearings, and that was his attorney. And the first thing that they did was to sue the government, the Justice Department, for $100 million. Well, you can't sue the government for $100 million. And it was very exciting. We had a big developer, not so much Donald, more his father, who owned what was called Trump Village in Brooklyn, which was a huge housing unit. And basically what happened at Trump Village is that if a person of color came to look for an apartment, they would be told there were no apartments available, and a fair housing group had set up a group of testers, white and people of color, to come in, and the white people were offered apartments. The people of color were told there were no vacancies, or that they could go and look at apartments at Patio Gardens or El Patio, which was in a neighborhood that was a neighborhood of color.
So what do you think you achieved through that suit? I mean, in a sense, the decree means that the DOJ won, but he also learned that it does pay to fight back really hard if you have no scruples.
Well, I don't think it paid for him so much. It became the largest consent decree for any housing discriminator in the country. And we tried to bring cases all across the country out of Maine justice for housing discrimination. So he always put it down and said it was, nothing. But it did change the way they could rent apartments at Trump Village and at other buildings in Brooklyn.
I want to read from something that Trump's team said about the lawyer who ultimately replaced you. Ms. Goldweber was replaced by Donna F. Goldstein, and they, quote, turned it into a Gestapo-like interrogation, which is rather a provocative and discriminatory way to refer to a Jewish lawyer as the Gestapo. What did those tactics mean in New York? You wouldn't think that's a way to endear yourself to this city. No, and it was a really terrible thing. And there was a hearing in court where Ms. Goldstein testified, and they said there was no, the judge found, Judge Nair found that there was no bad interrogation techniques, and everything that he said was not true. But he tried to make that attack against her. Do you think he will ultimately try to fire Jeff Sessions, and do you think he'll serve out a full term?
I don't think he'll serve out a full term, but I don't know what's going to happen after the midterm elections. And if he can, he will.
But you see him as the same rambunctious 28-year-old that you faced off against.
That's what's so jarring, is that I have watched his career over the last 40 years, and what's always struck me, even before he started to run in the presidential primary, is that he was so the same as he was when he was 27, 28.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.